She's taken. The words fell like a quiet thunderclap over crystal glasses and polished silverware, slicing through the soft hum of violin music and polite laughter. Conversations died mid-sentence. A chandelier shimmered above the long banquet table, but beneath its golden glow, 3 hearts pounded in a silence so thick it felt like the air had turned to stone. The millionaire's son froze, his confident smile draining from his face as though someone had turned off the lights inside him. Across from him, the young woman in ivory held her breath. And standing firmly behind her chair, one hand gripping the polished wood as if anchoring himself to courage, was a single father who had already lost too much to lose again. Before we continue, if you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in standing up for love no matter the cost, take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel. Your support keeps stories like this alive. The gala had been designed to impress. Gold-trimmed walls, white linen, servers moving like shadows. It was the kind of night where wealth shimmered louder than laughter. Daniel Carter didn't belong there. He felt it the moment he stepped through the doors in his simple charcoal shirt and worn leather shoes. He was a construction foreman, a widower, and a father of a 9-year-old girl who still slept with the hallway light on because she missed her mother. He knew how to pour concrete, fix broken cabinets, and braid his daughter's hair before school. He did not know how to navigate rooms filled with men who measured worth by the cut of a suit. But he hadn't come for the gala. He had come for her. Emily had once been the girl who sat beside him on cracked library steps 12 years ago, dreaming about futures neither of them could afford. Back then, they had been inseparable, 2 kids building castles out of hope. Then life happened. Daniel's father fell ill. Emily received a scholarship across the country. They promised to wait, to write, to return. But letters stopped. Calls faded. And somewhere between grief and responsibility, Daniel became a single dad with a ring that never made it to her finger. He hadn't known she would be there that night. He had only taken a last-minute job setting up stage equipment at the hotel. When he saw her across the ballroom, radiant, poised, seated beside Andrew Whitmore, heir to a real estate empire, his breath left his body. She looked like she belonged to that world. Andrew certainly did. Tailored tuxedo, effortless charm, a family name that opened doors before he knocked. Daniel should have walked away. He told himself that at least 5 times as he stood in the shadows, hands rough and heart trembling. But then he saw something else. Beneath Emily's practiced smile, there was a flicker he recognized. A hesitation. A sadness she used to hide when she pretended she was stronger than she felt. Andrew raised a glass and leaned toward her, his voice carrying just enough for nearby guests to hear. He spoke of investments, of expansion, of how fortunate she was to be joining a family with real stability. His hand rested possessively over hers. Emily's smile tightened. Daniel felt something old and fierce awaken inside him, not jealousy, but clarity. He remembered hospital bills. He remembered holding his daughter Lily the night her mother passed away, promising he would never let her feel alone. He remembered the silence after Emily's last letter, how he had assumed she chose a better life over him. But seeing her now, he realized something different. Maybe she hadn't chosen at all. So when Andrew noticed Daniel lingering and asked with amused arrogance whether he was lost, Daniel stepped forward. The violin music seemed to slow. Emily looked up, and their eyes met for the first time in years. In that look lived every unfinished sentence, every missed birthday, every dream buried under responsibility. "She's taken," Daniel said firmly. Andrew's expression shifted from confusion to disbelief. Taken? By who? The room leaned in. Daniel wasn't claiming ownership. He wasn't staking territory. He was speaking truth in the only way he knew how. Emily was taken by her own heart, by promises made before wealth ever entered the picture. Taken by memories of a boy who once believed in her when she didn't believe in herself. Taken by a love that never asked for diamonds to prove its worth. The silence stretched. Andrew laughed at first, but it was brittle. He asked Emily if she knew this man. His tone carried both irritation and entitlement. It was the kind of tone that assumed outcomes could be purchased. Emily's hand slowly slipped from Andrew's grasp. For years, she had convinced herself that stability meant security. That marrying into money would erase the loneliness she felt in her small apartment after long days in corporate meetings. She had told herself that Daniel had moved on, that his silence meant indifference. She didn't know he had written letters that were returned, didn't know he had shown up at her old campus only to learn she transferred. Misunderstandings had built a wall neither knew how to climb. But now he was here. Not polished. Not wealthy. Just real. Daniel spoke quietly, not to Andrew, not even to the guests, but to Emily. He spoke about Lily, about bedtime stories and burnt pancakes and how his daughter still asked about the woman from old photographs. He admitted he had been afraid he wasn't enough, afraid he would only bring her into a life of struggle. He said he didn't have mansions or stock portfolios, but he had loyalty that didn't waver and a heart that had never stopped choosing her. Emily stood. The chandelier light caught tears she hadn't realized were falling. She saw Andrew clearly now, kind in public, calculating in private. She saw the future mapped out for her like a business deal. And then she saw Daniel, uncertain, vulnerable, but unwavering. Andrew's pride cracked first. He muttered something about embarrassment and stormed away, leaving half-finished wine and a legacy of arrogance behind him. The ballroom exhaled. Emily stepped toward Daniel, closing the distance that years had created. She confessed she had been afraid too, afraid that loving someone without money meant repeating her childhood of financial instability. Afraid of choosing heart over comfort. But comfort had never made her feel alive. Outside the hotel, under cool night air and city lights, they spoke until the world felt small again. There were apologies. There were truths. There was the painful realization of time lost. But there was also something stronger than regret, choice. This time, they chose deliberately. Months later, Emily met Lily in a small kitchen that smelled like fresh paint and cinnamon. The house wasn't grand, but it was warm. Lily studied her carefully, then smiled in a way that felt like acceptance and possibility combined. Emily knelt down and promised, not perfection, not wealth, but presence. Life didn't suddenly become easy. Bills still came. Daniel still worked long hours. Emily adjusted to a life far simpler than the one she'd almost stepped into. But laughter returned to the house. And on evenings when exhaustion threatened them, they remembered the chandelier-lit silence where courage had spoken louder than status. If this story touched your heart, if you believe love is measured not by wealth but by devotion, please take a moment to like, comment, and share this video. Your engagement helps these stories reach someone who might be standing at their own crossroads right now. And before this story ends, I have a special request. Comment the word courage if you believe that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is stand up and say what your heart refuses to hide. Because in the end, it wasn't money that froze a millionaire's son at the table. It was truth. It was a single father who understood that love isn't about possession, it's about choosing someone every single day, even when the world offers easier options. And in choosing each other again, Daniel and Emily proved that second chances aren't given to the wealthy or the powerful. They are given to the brave.